No, the title and thumbnail are not clickbait. You can actually live in a micro apartment in Midtown East Manhattan for free for a year. Compliments of Skittles. Yes, those Skittles. They're doing this marketing stunt for a new product involving tiny Skittles in a tube. They hired a designer to deck out this apartment in the most colors that you could possibly fit in just 353 square feet. And, in case you forgot who's paying your rent, there are little reminders everywhere. Personally, the apartment isn't my aesthetic, but I'm not about to judge anybody who managed to secure a free apartment in a well-maintained building with amenities in Manhattan. Props to you for pulling that off. They hired Caleb Simpson, the guy who went viral on Instagram or TikTok, or maybe both, because he's the one that asked strangers to view inside their apartments. And they had him interview the designer of the unit, Danny Cleric, so that way she could show off all of the nifty design elements. And per the contract, you do get to keep most of the furniture after you move out. So if this decor speaks to you, then it could be your lucky day. I am wondering, however, if I'm going to see some of these extremely colorful items listed for sale on Facebook Marketplace in the next year or so. My money says yes. And reading the breakdown on the website does crack me up, so the marketing team should be proud. Price per square foot? You're kidding me, right? I mean, I get it, it's New York City, so we don't need to talk about the price per square foot on apartments. No one needs to hear how high that number is. Some of the other apartment amenities that they list are quick to clean, because it's so tiny. Or the bed doubles as a wall. How about brings couples closer than ever? I mean, physically that might be true, but I think that might cause some rifts in some relationships. How about multi-purpose room? One room, all purposes. Anybody who lives in a studio, they're already used to that. Optimal acoustics. No need to shout ever, because you can whisper on one side of the room and they'll be able to hear you on the other. Pocket-sized doors, or you're always in range of the Wi-Fi because you literally can't get far enough away from the router. Thermostat is always just a step away, and you'll never lose the remote again. Something that they don't mention on their website, though, is that the apartment only has a mini fridge and a 2-burner stovetop. So if you like cooking, this might not be the best place for you. Another nice thing is they apparently have extra amenities included, such as weekly housekeeping, a resident app that it doesn't specify what that is, but cool an app. And then you also get your bathroom stocked and restocked with high-end apothecary from a brand Malin, and I can't pronounce the second word, but yes. It doesn't mention how often it's restocked, but hey, free toiletries. The entire building is specifically for micro apartments, so at least you don't have to be envious of your neighbor's space. Unless they decorated theirs a little less marketing stunt-y, because in that case I would definitely be a bit jealous. And you can meet some of your neighbors while you're hanging out in the building's gym or a lounge or on their rooftop. I will say I am a sucker for a building with a good rooftop. The contest is open until midnight on May 21st, and then they plan on picking a winner on May 22nd, 2024. I am a bit confused about what happens if you win. Before I get into the next part, I will say I am not a lawyer, and this is just my understanding of the terms and conditions page. I'm not affiliated with this contest in any way, they have no idea I'm making this video, and I'm just going based off of the information given to the public. With that being said, based on the fine print, when you accept the price, you still have to apply to qualify for the apartment and show like bank statements as well as proof of employment. They are paying for a guarantor service, so maybe you don't need to make enough to cover the would-be rent. But considering those guarantor services still have tenant requirements, I'm curious what level income they're looking for to qualify. You also need a US Social Security number so they can run a background check. What if the winner has a prior eviction on their background check? Like, would they be denied the unit? Because if they stayed there for free for a year and then forced the building to go through the eviction process to eventually kick them out because they wouldn't leave after that free year, that would be a real nightmare for the building. Evictions in New York take months, sometimes years. And would it be a nightmare for Skittles marketing as well when that eviction eventually came to light? Or would this be one of those situations where like any press is good press? Only time will tell. Also in the fine print, we find out that it's not actually a full year lease. It's only 11 months for some reason. It runs from June 15th, 2024 to May 14th, 2025. You also have to take possession on June 15th or else you lose the apartment. June 16th simply will not do. I almost wonder, what does taking occupancy of the apartment look like? It already has basically everything you need in it. So if I just show up with a duffel bag, does that count as me taking occupancy? Another thing I didn't mention yet, but sounds exciting, is the fact that they give you a check for $20,000. That's phenomenal, right? Who doesn't want an extra 20 grand? Well, they're giving you that money because you're about to owe that in taxes next year. Yep, if you accept the grand prize, its approximate value is $85,000, and Skittles will be 1099ing you, hence why you need the 20 grand to pay the government. Props to Skittles, though, for not trying to advertise it like it's an actual perk of the contest. The only place you see them mention the 20 grand on Skittles' official website is actually in the terms and conditions page, which clearly states that it is there to offset the winner's tax liability. Last thing I will note on the terms and condition is that Mars Company, the owners of Skittles and the company running this promotion, and their affiliates are able to use your name, voice, and likeness, aka your face, in any and all media throughout the world in perpetuity, which essentially means forever. They don't need to notify you, you don't get to approve anything, and you will never see a dime if they make any money off of you. It's a marketing stunt, so I understand they need to use the winner to help them market. But I don't like the fact that they can use me for the rest of their life over an estimated $85,000 value, especially when I'm moving into a much smaller apartment than I currently have, and that $85,000 could pay my current rent for 3 years. Needless to say, I will not be applying, but depending on your situation, this might be the steal of a lifetime. Overall, I'd say it's a pretty solid prize, and it is free rent in an expensive city like New York. Location is rather central since it's Midtown, and the unit itself is obviously on the small side. It's called micro for a reason, but again, it's free. So, given everything I've said, what do you think? Would you live here for free for 11 months?